Hello, everybody. My name is Master Chen.
This is Doxy.
I'm Richard Satchel.
And you are listening to Grey Noise. All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 107 of Grey Noise, the Information Security Podcast. It is Friday night, 7:30 p.m. here at the Sin Shop. So you know that means that this show is starting now. We are here like every Friday.
You sound like Pert Hapley.
What? Who's that?
From Parks and Recreation.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is. I don't watch Parks and Rec.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I know. You can berate me later. All right, so we are here. It's 107.5 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. We are still the Las Vegas Valley hackerspace, even though we are in the burbs. You know, the burbs. So for more information on the shop, go to synshop.org. That's S-Y-N. You know, Synac, like the TCP/IP protocol, not like any other thing that we know about. And for information on the meetups that we do here, go to meetup.com/synshop, of course spelled the same way. And for information on us, go to GREYNOISE, GREYNOI.se. So before we get into the main topic, let's talk a little bit about the Fozzie Hour. I thought that was a great one. We had Jerry here at the shop talking about instead of being a $1 million man, he was the 695 man. But he was talking about all of the replacements that he's done, him and his doctors, you know, medically and whatnot. And so he shared, you know, the knee replacements, the pacemaker, the this, the that, the one that I found that was really interesting that I've never seen before is what was that device called for his back?
It was a nerve stimulator or nerve something or other. Basically it killed the nerve in his back so he could stand upright and walk right.
Yeah, so instead of walking all bent over, he could walk straight without pain because this thing was just like, yeah, no nerves, you don't exist.
Oh, it just turns off the pain. It doesn't fix the problem. It's just
it's just like
they put some leads. He has a device implanted in him that he recharges every night wirelessly, just like a phone, and then it basically puts electrical charge to the nerves that keeps it from him feeling anything.
Wow.
Yeah. And we're just happy to know that his pacemaker is not on Bluetooth. Yeah. So that's good. But I really hope that Vic and I didn't scare him because we were talking about how we would probably disrupt these things, how we would, you know, NFC or some sort of device or, you know.
I was really glad to see that it was NFC and not Bluetooth. I was going, please don't be Bluetooth, please don't be Bluetooth. And he pulls out an NFC wand and it was like, yeah, okay, that's you got to get within millimeters to be able to do that. So
you have to hug him with like an NFC tag on your hand or like, you know, on your phone with some malicious command, maybe, you know. Or have, like you were saying,
they're like plotting how to kill old people.
No, we're not. No,
we're trying to figure out how to keep people from being hurt.
No, see, hello, you guys. Okay, you got to remember that we are doing this from the good guy perspective. Okay, so when we ask, okay, if it's made with this technology, how would we break it? Because if we're thinking about it, we're obviously not going to do it to harm somebody.
Yeah, because there's people out there being nice implant. hope something doesn't happen to it.
Exactly. You have somebody who, like, comes at them like the mafia, like, hey,
Do you work for the DNC?
hey,
asking.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Don't get ahead of yourself. Hey,
All right.
remember, if you want to talk, please go to the community mic because we can't hear you. Anyway, Vic, we were also talking about the pacemaker, which wasn't a big deal because, quote unquote, big deal because of the Bluetooth.
Just a pacemaker.
But we were talking about how an accidental change to firmware, like an accidental corrupted file, could be not necessarily a malicious intent, but let's say he goes to the doctor. Oh, there's a firmware upgrade for your pacemaker. They download a file or they upgrade, whatever, and then boom, it's corrupted. It doesn't work anymore. Because accidents could happen, and I'm not saying that to be like tongue in cheek, but
Yeah, it could be accidentally mispaced.
I saw where that was going. No, but seriously, like from what I've learned this week, you make mistakes. You maybe put a semicolon somewhere. You maybe cancel a transfer halfway through an upload, and then you corrupt a file that breaks some things later down the line, and you only now find out about it and fix it.
Well,
Community Mike.
I don't know if this is the principle with medical things. I think it should be, but there are a lot of things with mission critical systems where there's a lot of like fail safes involved. Like if there's any chance that it's going to be like a system shutdown, it kind of tests itself before it really runs itself. And so there are lots of ways to protect for that thing. So the worst case scenario is it decides, no, we're just not going to run it. And that you can get it to err on the side of caution where even if it's, well, maybe 50-50 it'll work, it won't. Then it'll just kick it back and it won't really implement it. So there are ways to protect against that. It's not, I mean, I hope they're all implementing these protocols, but you can definitely set stuff up where it does a pretty thorough battery of self-tests before it actually takes over.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine they don't test it or like have some redundancy in place or something. They're actually like willy-nilly updating firmware. We'll see.
I'm not saying that they would
We'll play it by ear.
do things maybe the way I would do things. But no, but so anyway,
How many bioflashes on a machine have you ever seen fail?
I don't know.
How many have you seen fail?
I haven't seen any.
Bioflashes? I've never seen one.
That's
I've
pretty.
caused 2.
Okay.
Well, those were firmware update, actually. Sorry.
No, so I'm not saying it's going to be an everyday occurrence. I'm just
Yeah, but pre Y2K, I think we flashed tens of thousands of BIOS at where I was working at the time, and they all went.
like BIOS. I thought you meant like BIOS, like as in biometrics.
No, like a
Okay.
BIOS, like on a
No,
computer.
BIOS.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so
Yeah, yeah.
basically, that's what you're flashing on the implanted medical devices. Is something is about as complicated as a BIOS at this point. It's not like it has any decision factors or any code that it's running. It's basically just doing input output, and all the decision making is hard coded on the device. That's pretty much how they run today.
Right.
So in the near future, who knows? But yeah, so upgrading one of those, you'd have to have like you said, but there would have to be like a something that would cause that corruption on there, which it could happen, but it's
Right.
pretty hard.
Now I hope we didn't scare Jerry. It was a great talk. It
Well,
was
if he never
great.
comes back, we'll know.
I know.
I was so worried about
So-
Jerry. It's funny.
Yeah, his wife was taking it harder than he was there. Yeah.
Yeah, she was looking at us like she even said, "Hey, you guys may be white hats, but I know his lawyer, or we have his lawyer, or whatever." And I was like, we're not trying to kill the man.
We would ask before we tried something.
Hey, hold my beer. I want to try something really quick.
Sign this.
Hey, Jerry.
Sign this NDA.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jerry. Can we hack your butt?
We were talking about like what jetpacks and stuff. Yeah. So it was a really great Fozzie hour. I missed the first little part of it, but I got to see the video that he was playing beforehand, so that was cool. And I guess the underlying thing is, where do we evolve from here? Do we become half cyborg? Or
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
want.
yeah.
I wish I could do that now.
Like just replace all your.
Yeah, I would absolutely lose a limb if I could get like a mechanical arm, like a good one, like Terminator. That's what I want. If it's like okay, I don't want. I want Terminator,
So not Luke's arm.
not Luke's arm, not that.
No.
No, you
Not-
don't. You don't
not
want.
just the-
You don't want
not-
Luke's
not
arm.
just
You
a
want
little-
Terminator's
I
arm.
want it to
Terminator.
look like Iron Man's hand.
Community Mike.
I mean,
Yeah, it's like,
if it was Iron Man's hand, that'd be cool. What are they? Pulse blasters, or whatever. Sonic
probably a
blast?
flashlight in real life, but
That's cool. That's cool too. Just imagine. Like, just imagine what that would do to you if some dude just a flashlight popped out of it. That's awesome.
Like Iron Man.
Yeah, I would take that.
Taser.
Yeah.
Just, but there's
No.
Well, here's what I think was interesting is the fact that there was that party in Wisconsin, that company that actually had like a chip implanting party.
Oh, yeah.
For its employees.
I'm sorry,
to
what?
Get them. They actually had
Was that
apparently
the
they
NFC
needed,
chip in their web of the hand, or?
Yeah, I think it was in their hand or wrist, somewhere in the forearm or hand
Yeah,
area. That was like like their security badge and all those things. A couple functions implemented into one badge, and they actually had like a party to like invite all the employees and try to make it sound a fun thing and not creepy. And they actually like had them all like medically inserting the chip and there. Now, to me, I would have serious issues with that. I mean, in terms of privacy, in terms of the fact that what happens when you leave the company, how can you be sure that it's just doing what they're saying it's doing? All those other things. I mean, what kind of issues does that open up in the future?
So many. I
would say.
I don't know. I mean, and it's the same thing with bionic arms and whatnot because they can program whatever into bionic arms too. So I don't know. If it was for me, just for me, whatever. But if a company wants to put something inside me, probably not.
Well, and that's I mean, nowadays there's so much about passwords. So we all have so many accounts, and we have and we're trying to keep it clean. A lot of people use the same password for everything. It doesn't match
So many
current
people.
strats, and it's just like, and that's a huge security risk. So they're saying, well, we can do this, and this will obviate that because it gives a second factor that'll apparently make it more secure. So they have arguments for it.
Oh, I mean,
at the same time,
there's a ton of benefits, but I don't trust any company enough
exactly
to put something inside of me.
Is it something where you think you can leave with their ACLU will get up with lawsuits saying, like people are not getting hired because they're refusing to get implanted?
What if they kill somebody on accident? Like just
I think
impaling
it'd be
the
pretty
chip.
hard to kill somebody trying to put in a
I don't know, man.
RFID tag.
I've seen people fuck up. I don't know. Anything can happen.
Another person with the community mic.
So you used to have RFID chips in your cards. Now you have RFID chips in your body.
In
How are you
you.
going to mask the signal?
Well, it's only if they're excited. RFID has to have an exciter that happens, and so you have to hit it with a radio wave for it to transmit back. It's basically
Barry White works really well.
Yeah.
An audio wave, not a radio.
Oh, sorry.
So,
on the radio.
so the people that would walk around through crowds just with the radio set in their bag, picking up people's cards just by walking by them, and they've done that. So how's it any
I mean, isn't that the
different
same
if it's
concern-
in your arm or
Right.
in your leg or
that
whatever?
the
They
same
can pick
concern
up
with,
any
like,
information they want off you.
Having,
absolutely.
Having like an RFID chip in your passport and whatnot. Like, wasn't that the same concern?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like with the people taking information, it'd be an even bigger security concern because it's usually leave your work badge and stuff at home if you're not at work. But if it's in you, it's just on
Right.
all the time.
Right. So if there's some field that you engage on,
Yeah.
it could be a radio transmitter or something could be excite that chip you would be transmitting.
Yeah. And I mean, I would imagine the chances that you meet one of these people that have it inside of them is pretty low. But if you're just walking around and one day it just picks it up,
And who's to say that companies wouldn't like start keeping a database and being offered like to sell it to other companies?
Oh, they
saying,
absolutely do.
Hey, I know 100 people with a certain RFID. If you want to track where they're going and when they're entering your shop, here's their number.
I think we start a thing instead of like train spotting or plane spotting, we start doing RFID spotting.
it's a good idea.
Just start cataloging where you find RFID chips.
Kind of
and-
like a wiggle.net,
yeah.
like where you're categorizing the wireless access points that are on wiggle.net. You know?
Never been there.
Oh yeah, WIGLE.net.
Yeah.
It's like the Google of Wi-Fi. Or the,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so like what you can do, and as an example, if we wanted to do, like you said, the train spotting or the RFID spotting, you just have a pineapple in your backpack. And I'm talking about like Wi-Fi spotting.
Yeah, the trick would be to be able to find like Acme Incorporated employees or different, you'd get different companies. I got an IBM, it's like, I saw an IBM employee numbers such and such. Because if you ever see like these plane spotting and train spotting websites, they have it like people like post up, hey, I saw a train such and such, or I saw a plane such and such. And so, you'd be like collecting, RFID numbers from employees from specific companies.
And then just tracking them.
Yeah.
I saw them in this place, and next week I saw them.
Instead of like northern and southern, like northern western engine number 555, I now
Yeah.
found employee number such and such from IBM.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should do that. Start spotting.
That'd be an interesting little thing. So before we go on to the main topic, I know we're going to have a lot to discuss about on the main topic. right before the Fozzie Hour, I had a chance to hang out in the back of the shop here. Now, for those of you who don't know, I don't normally hang out back there, but I was back there talking to Akeen, who's the treasurer of the shop, just about, equipment back there and what I wanted to get into. I wanted to get into the 3D printing and whatnot. And I told him about my idea for cutting coins from the laser cutter and handing them out at DEF CON, of course. I was either too busy or too lazy to get that done before DEF CON. So he's like, hey man, I'll show you really quick. It's gonna take like 5 minutes. And it really was like 5 minutes on the basics of laser cutting. Now, of course, I'm not an expert. I'll have to probably do a refresher course and whatnot. But we were able to cut some of these GREYNOISE coins out of wood. So we got the front, and it actually came out nice because we even got the static there on the inside of the G. And for those of you who don't know, that's kind of the N as well in gray noise. So we have the G in the N. Now you know what that logo is, all right? And then, of course, the website was burned on the back of the coin. So there's a couple of things I need to work out, but this was really cool. And I learned a lot from that. That was really, really cool. I'm turning a little bit more from the software configuration side to the maker side. Really, really fun stuff. So it's not just soldering for me anymore. So, and Vic came right at the tail end of it and gave me some other pointers. So the two of them together, that was really awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so now are we ready for the main topic?
I'm ready.
I was born ready.
I don't know what it is.
I've been ready since November the 8th.
Okay, so the main topic, and Vic was the one who brought it up, so I know he's helping somebody really quick. But we're talking about a couple of things here. Of course, it's related to the DNC. Now, we're going to take a look at this from not the political side of things, but from the straight up, technical side, okay? Now, first of all, to take a step back, Vic, he linked it either this morning or yesterday. But I guess Julian Assange has some potential to be pardoned due to the leaks from the DNC email fiasco, back then.
Yeah.
Back around the election time. So if that's the case, that's going to be really interesting. First of all, what do you guys think about the potential pardon for those actions? Are you guys cool with that?
Well, am I cool with it? Sure. I mean, he's a guy that gave out information that was given to him. He's under no obligation to do what the DNC says. I mean, the DNC has said in court that they're a private organization.
Right.
So it's not like he's doing anything against the government.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very true. Good point.
I mean, if that's the argument the DNC is going to make, I don't really see how they have a case against him.
Right. Now, do you think it would be the same if it was the other party? Do you think they'd be giving him the same courtesy or the same
The
even
RNC?
potential?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Absolutely
not.
not, right?
No.
He'd probably be dead.
I mean, he just yeah. Well, he just acts Bannon just because he was the leaker. So I mean,
Right. Well, yes.
you can tell this administration doesn't appreciate leakers that leak against him at least.
But that's what I find confusing is because they don't appreciate leaking, but that's what it was because it's leaking on their bad news.
Are you
Obviously.
trying to say there's like a double standard?
Oh
Yeah.
my God! Yeah, I guess I do. I
Huh.
guess I am saying that.
Weird.
I know. Yeah. Thanks. I'm still trying to work on detecting sarcasm, and I think I'm getting better.
People go on the internet and tell lies?
Who would do that?
Oh yes, I'm just oblivious to it all. No, so I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen.
If he's going to get pardoned?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen. There's preliminary talks about it. That's what this article is. I guess the DNC emails. I guess there was like 19 gigs worth of stuff, and only and I think Vic gave us the numbers here earlier. I'll have to scan through it, but 3 gigs were actually released. But I guess Julian Assange has about 19 gigs in total. So there's still like 16 gigs out that are not released yet. So I'm wondering if the pardon is dependent upon the other 16 gigs being released.
Well, what more do we expect to find, honestly?
And who what happened because of the DNC leaks? Like what happened?
Well, you have people arguing that they potentially changed the outcome of the election. I mean, I don't know.
The election was so close. If it would have,
I know you're getting annoyed. And you're like, "Fuck, we're talking about the election again."
If it would have rained or not rained in certain areas, the election would have went differently. It was that close. It was like 20 or 30,000 votes in a couple key areas that swung this thing.
What, popular votes? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the electoral college.
But aren't we, okay, before the two parties went at it, though,
Yeah.
weren't the DNC emails before, like when
sure.
when Bernie was still in the running?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it could have gone even that far back, changed the outcome that way, like where it was,
So
sorry,
no, because
well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like if anything, the emails should have helped Bernie but obviously it didn't. So it's like, well, who cares at this point? Even more than I didn't care 6 months ago or whenever. Why would I care now? I mean, obviously it's shitty, all the leaks and all the stuff they were doing, but nothing happened.
I bet you Julian Assange cares.
Why? Oh, because the party. Yeah. Well, yeah, of course he cares. Yeah.
But
Community Mike.
here's another repercussion of this. If it's determined that there is no, like you said, no legal foundation for like this causing actual legal damage or breaking a crime, then how does that go on to the current accusations against Kushner that he met with the intention of getting information and colluding with the foreign government? If you can argue that all these leaks meant nothing, then is the intent of collusion enough to get Kushner into trouble?
Well,
or is it the fact that you're saying, well, Assange didn't do anything, so if Russians were giving him information that led to nothing, then what do you have to accuse Kushner of?
So
if it's with the foreign government, that's treason, then, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's treason. I mean, that's
at least collusion.
That's
Oh
way.
yeah,
that's
but
way-
it's not intention. But yeah, obviously, when push comes to shove, lawyers are going to have to argue this in court, and they could use the tactic of saying that, hey, no harm, no foul.
But
even though that's not necessarily the law.
Oh, because nothing happened, he shouldn't be punished.
Right, which is not legally. Legally, you can do it one or two ways, but people have argued that before and gotten away with it.
I feel like it's different because of the foreign government. I feel like that makes all the difference.
I think so, too.
I think so. That's my opinion, but I don't know anything about politics.
What
so.
I was told in the military is that if it caused irreparable damage to national security, then it's a problem. But it's a very gray area because you have collusion, you have treason, and then you have freedom of speech. So where does the line for each of these end? I mean, if you're doing a good thing, is it bad?
I would imagine
If
it
you're
would
doing a
end at
bad
the border.
thing, is it good?
I would imagine the line would be somewhere around the border.
And
I mean, you know. Well, here's
And
the
I-
thing: like, if I put together the perfect crime, right, or I put together this bank robbery, and we're gonna go and we're gonna rob the bank, and it's gonna be awesome, but for whatever reason, the bank is closed that day because they gotta fix the sprinkler system. If the cop catches me outside and he finds my plans to rob the bank, I will get charged with bank robbery, even though I never set foot in it.
That's
Conspiracy
conspiracy
to commit
There you go.
robbery. Yeah.
armed robbery or whatever. Yeah.
So-
or whatever kind of robbery.
You know, if he met with them with the intention of getting information,
It's like intent. It's all intent.
yeah.
He said as much as that was.
We're not getting you right now, dude. Sorry. I mean,
Go to the
community
thing.
mic, dude. We can't hear you, and the whole dead air thing is
Yeah.
people don't like it on the.
Sorry. So he's admitted as much as saying that
Yeah.
he went there with the intent. The reason why he went to that meeting
Yeah.
was with the intent that he was told he could get information that was valuable. So he's admitted that the intent was there.
Yeah.
As far as so I'm just curious. I mean, I'm not a lawyer either,
Right.
But I'm curious to see if any of this pushback.
You mean you anal?
Exactly. So if there's any pushback from this on the further investigation that Mueller's doing, which is very hard to say just because we don't know all the information that Mueller has or what he's collecting or what he'll know.
I'll bet you dollars to donuts that at the end of this, it's financial stuff. That the collusion thing ain't even gonna be a drop in the bucket compared to what they find financially.
say-
Oh yeah, you know what?
Donuts?
I agree to that. It's all gonna be financial
Someone's
stuff.
in someone's pocket.
So many people are in so many people's pockets. So much.
Mr. Vic, do you have any opinions on this? The whole pardon thing of potential pardon. We're not talking about actual yet. Of Assange.
I believe a senator from California, a Democratic senator from California, went to England 2 days ago and had a conversation with Assange. And he's now back. I'm trying to look up his name. And he's one of the ones pushing for this pardon for Assange if he comes forward with evidence about the DNC hacks. And I think if he comes back and says, I can prove it wasn't the Russians, I think Trump's going to pardon him.
I see what you're saying there.
So would the Democratic senator come back and say that?
It's been kind of iffy in the news statements I've seen, but he's over there, and I think that's what he's already asked for. So.
Well, now, okay, so aside from the pardon, I also want to talk about, Vic, again, you linked this. We're talking about Guccifer 2.0. You can find this, I'll give you the exact link, of course, in the show notes, but it's theforensicator.wordpress.com, and then it's one of the latest articles there. It's Gucci-FIR 2.0 NGP/VA and metadata analysis. So aside from the pardon, we're also talking about the nature of the quote-unquote DNC hack. Was the information transferred by network? This article is, the analysis says no, because of a few factors here that we'll see. One of them being, of course, the transfer rate and the timestamps that were on the log files of the computer that was potentially compromised. You know, so this is more of like a physical security and inside leak.
Right. The write-up's pretty extensive, and it basically says that these 19 gigabytes of data that was pulled off of the server, which was the emails and other documents that were, some of them were released by WikiLeaks already. They were transferred at a rate of 23 megabytes per second, which is pretty phenomenal. There's not very many internet connections that can handle that.
So we're talking about a USB drive.
Yeah, something, a physical storage device was plugged into the server, and by the timestamps on it, it seems to be a Linux device.
So like a live instance on a USB device that had access, that could access a drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I find that completely plausible and probably the most realistic.
Would it be possible for it to be a network copy?
What are the transfer rates of a Cat 5 or Cat 6? Cat
You
6
could,
meg?
you could transfer it. You could transfer it locally. You could do that. It would have to be a fairly robust network.
So here's where I'm going with this, and I really wish I had my tinfoil hat right now. But there was, for the longest, oh, not for the longest, but for a month or so, there was that thing where the Sanders campaign could access the Clintons' information, and the Clinton team could access the Sanders team's information. Like all the voting lists, you remember that stuff?
Is that because
Yeah,
they were in
and
the
then
same
they-
party?
and then
Is that why? Or
what was
They
it
weren't
about-
supposed to be able to.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
and about 6 weeks out from the election, they cut him off, right? Do I have that about right?
Yeah, something like that,
Yeah,
yeah. And so I guess where I'm going with this is if their security was that lax, I'm certainly not saying the Sanders campaign did it. But what I am saying, though, is if it was that lax, anyone who had access to that network could have. You know, so I guess if this Seth Rich guy was a network like consultant, or what was he, like a contractor?
No, he wasn't. I don't think he was in IT. He was a public publicist or somebody who was like for
Okay.
in that group. Yeah.
and I don't know too much about the guy. What's his name? Richard?
Seth Rich?
Seth Rich. Okay,
Yeah.
Seth Rich. Now, do you think it was an example of like turncoat, or was he always on the other side to begin with? Like,
It never really was.
Did he always? Did he always? Do you think he always went in knowing that he would find this and extract it, or did he see it and then turn coat and offer it to the other side? Do you
Crime
think?
of opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. There we
Like,
go.
no,
Crime of
I-
opportunity.
If it was him, and this is pure speculation,
My
Right.
favorite.
These are all ifs. We don't
These
know.
are
We weren't there.
complete speculation. I know nothing. Like I wasn't there. But my point is, if he did, I'll be willing to bet you it was something like he saw what was going on in the DNC and was like, "This shit ain't right. I'm gonna go public with it. I'm gonna get this out in the open." And Julian Assange is the best guy to do it. Again, pure speculation. But if I was a staffer, that is the path that I would need to travel to start leaking information. Because if I see this and they're like, "Oh, this ain't right,"
Yeah.
They deemed his death a suicide, right? Wasn't it?
I don't know.
I
There's
actually
so
don't
much,
even know what was.
Hey, let me just. Well, I don't know.
there's so
You
much
guys.
BS on
You guys
the
can talk amongst yourselves, and I'll
Exactly,
see if I
there's
can
so
fact check
much,
this.
like-
I know there's a lot of speculation.
There's a lot of like misinformation on this topic.
It's Pizzagate.
It is again.
Oh, don't bring Infowars into this.
Yeah, stop that.
We
With
are
the-
under
with the-
attack.
And here we go with the Alex Jones.
Sorry.
No, I don't think they said it was suicide because they're talking about police finding footage of killers.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, because the reason why I asked that is because I do listen to the Joe
We
Rogan.
got some killer footage.
Killer.
I
They got-
listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, or the podcast, and there are a couple of episodes where he's talked about the whole Seth Rich thing maybe being deemed a suicide, and he was always asking, like, how do you commit suicide with a gunshot to the back of the head twice, right? So
You got to be good.
you got to be really good at what you
You have to be quick. Quick.
Trigger finger.
Reflexes like a dead cat.
Yeah. Vic, were there any other points of this meta-analysis that you wanted to kind of discuss? The thing that stuck out to me was the potential for it to be a USB device, the high potential for it to be a USB device, and a live Linux distribution.
Yeah, timestamps were East Coast timestamps. There's a couple of other things, and then it was pulled into a 7-zip, which means that those files were taken to a Windows machine.
Right.
And which is something typical that Windows wouldn't be using, would be a 7-zip.
You mean Windows doesn't read tar files?
What?
Windows doesn't read tar files?
Well,
or-
it also also it points to way I think about it is like if you're somewhat of a Linux user, you wouldn't be using 7-zip. You would be using a tar file.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And so
Here we come. The community mic.
Anyway, Community Mike,
Yeah,
Community
but-
Fozzie.
But Linux definitely has 7-zip. It's
Yes.
really easy to get access to it if you're running an Ubuntu or whatever. It's
Yep.
just there.
yeah, but what Linux user uses it?
He couldn't have. No, like, I'm sorry, dude. Vic's got you there, I think.
No, but I mean,
But you're right, you have access
just the
to
fact that it's there. If you know where you're going to be handing it off to. I mean, tar files suck. So, yeah.
Do they though?
Yeah, they do. You know why? 'Cause
Why?
I don't know. They're just a pain in the butt
I mean,
in the
they're-
90s.
He obviously he's one of those clicky people.
Do you use Nano too?
Click, click, click.
Instead.
He uses spaces instead of tabs.
Yeah, exactly. Vim or GTFO.
Mother of God.
Who said that?
Over there.
So yeah, that's. Do we have anything else on this Gucci for 2.0 or any other speculation?
No.
You know who I think is behind it?
Oh, here we go.
Debbie fucking Wasserman Schultz.
That was a pretty good impression there.
was good.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
good.
Well, you know what's funny is we did a pretty good job about keeping it objective to the technical, and I think that's why the discussion has kind of dried up a little bit because it's not, it's not.
We're not sensationalists.
Yeah, we're not.
It's
This
hard
is
to-
what
it's-
happened. This is how it happened.
We're bit slinging, not mud slinging.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so. Yeah, no, I'm good. Go ahead.
All right, community
I've
Mike
been good
again.
so far.
There's
Keep
a
going.
fundamental issue here, and it goes back to other things too. I think is the fact that what is the value of getting a lot of a person's email? It goes back to the Hollywood hacks. It goes back to Hillary. Like getting all that information. What does it really provide in terms of compromise? In terms of sensitive information? When you're talking about 19 gigs and you're talking text files, that's a lot of text.
Well, not all 19 gigs have been released. Remember that.
Right.
True, but I mean,
Gives you
but
a lot.
what is in there? I mean, is there a standard for this is damaging, this is not, this is something that was corrupting this was something that was problematic to release, this is something that really, who cares?
Well, I think the whole damning or the damaging part is inherently it inherently has intrinsic value, meaning like as you're reading through these documents, you know what will hurt the other side, or you know what will hurt the parties involved. So it's not. It's more of a subjective. Well, it's not even really subjective. Like you can read it and be like, okay, well, this is definitely damning evidence. So I don't think it's the value of the information is intrinsic. It's not. You know what I mean?
So here's what it did for me.
Is the leak?
Huh?
These leaks?
These leaks.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's what the leaks did for me personally. Okay. I'm here in Nevada, obviously. I was at the caucus.
You're not from Nevada, though, right? Because you say Nevada.
Fuck.
Yeah.
found me.
Social engineering, profiling.
Damn it.
I win. All right, go ahead.
You already knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn it.
He's a spy.
Debbie fucking Wasserman Schultz.
He's not from Nevada.
He's not from around here.
He's not. He's not from Nevada.
Nevada. Okay. All right. Anyhow, but God damn it, I was at the caucuses. And the stuff that went down there, I'm not going to get off onto a tangent with that, but it left me feeling like, I know what I just saw. Am I crazy? And then the emails came out, and I was like, no, I'm not crazy. That happened. It
So
would take like a half hour.
you were vindicated.
Oh, absolutely.
You were
Well,
vindicated.
So
in the way
you
you're
saw
thinking.
some of the fuckery they talked about in the email.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
No, I
simplest
saw.
way to put it.
I saw
Yeah.
the fuckery, and then I was like, did that fuckery just happen that blatantly?
Yeah.
And then when I saw the emails, I was like, oh yeah, it did. Yeah, that was a thing.
It was premeditated.
Very
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
I mean, and they were talking about, in those emails, they were talking about elevating Donald Trump because they thought for sure that she could beat him. Yeah.
It worked out well.
Oh, that went great. Yeah.
See, okay.
Master strategist there.
Again,
Who came up with that one?
we could go down
Well,
this road, but I'd rather
I-
us not. But all I'm saying is,
It
because of the
seems to
way
me, in my view,
God.
that the person who came up with this was Debbie fucking Wasserman Schultz.
You're killing Vic over there.
It's Bernie Sanders.
No, dude, it's Bernie Sanders.
Larry David.
I guess you didn't have a great Bernie Sanders impression because.
Did you know they're actually related?
Who?
Larry David.
Get out.
No, I swear to God.
Really?
Larry David and Bernie Sanders are related.
I could see it.
It's very distant.
I don't
But,
know if
yeah.
I believe you or not, but I could see it.
It was on one of those ancestry shows that they do. I can't remember what the name of it is.
I have
But,
no
like,
idea.
those-
And you?
I see what you did there. No, but no, they actually are related. Like it's like second or third cousins 30 times removed or some shit. But like
Second or third cousin once removed.
the top 1% of cousins is Larry David. Anyway,
So you felt vindicated though in what you
absolutely I did.
So you
Well,
weren't crazy.
you
You could take off the tinfoil hat.
Yeah, it was like, okay, I don't give a damn what Joy Reid on MSNBC tells me. That shit happened.
She couldn't even find that blonde girl on an island.
Which,
Wait, what?
Blonde girl on the island.
oh, Joy
Yeah.
Reid.
Wait, I'm missing the
I don't
reference.
know. I don't get.
Yeah, I didn't
I
catch
don't
that.
get
Right.
it.
Yeah.
I'm missing the reference.
I can't remember the name of the blonde girl. She like went missing on Aruba.
Oh, and Joy Reid was the person behind. Oh, okay. I completely didn't care. About that,
I
think.
still don't get this reference.
There was a girl that went missing while on vacation in Aruba. I guess Joy Reid was one of the main reporters of it,
Oh.
and also a huge freaking liar as far as what happened
Freaking liar.
in Nevada.
Oh, hey, he's one of us now.
There you go.
You can say the word.
It's too late. It's too late. You've been found out.
Oh no, I
You've
would've
been
told
found
you.
out. Okay, so you felt vindicated, and all right, good.
Well, I mean, it's like it had it confirmed to me to where there was no way that I could bring myself to vote for her. Yes, the other guy's a terrible person, absolutely, but there was no way that I could pull the trigger in a voting for sense on.
Yeah,
Hillary
now you have to
Clinton.
Clarify that.
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
play- yeah,
Now
yeah,
you have to
absolutely.
preface that before we get in trouble.
Because you just got the crosshairs on you.
We're definitely getting more listeners now.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, oh, somebody said that what he just said. I'm not saying it.
No.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get it.
No, I wish her no ill will. I just hope she stays in the fucking woods. Like just keep camping. That's
but-
fine.
so don't you think,
Enjoy
though-
your house.
Okay, so
Yes.
with these leaks, don't you think? With these leaks, don't you think that the actions of the DNC almost, it's like they deserved to lose?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm just making sure you're thinking what I'm thinking.
Huh?
Community, or what's up?
Go ahead.
Community
If you
Mike.
could give the Democratic Party, and it's funny because I talk to people like my father and uncle who have been Democrats, or my father has been a Republican actually for most of his life, but my uncle was a Democrat in California, a Mexican judge who was in the state of California, and they were very much of.
Does he know Trump?
He does not. But he does know Liam Panetta. They went to school together in Berkeley. But it was just one of the things where they, at the time, they said, like, okay, if the Democratic Party after November 8th, and they were sitting there shell-shocked, it was like, you say, okay, all of you who said that Bernie Sanders could never win, and all you Democratic heads, all you pundits, all you wise men, if you could go back 4 months into the thing and say, you know what, the superdelegate thing isn't really working, it's obviously unfair, maybe we should scrap it and just actually take actual votes of real people,
Real people.
then
Real time.
then would you do that now? And of course, nope, they wouldn't, because
Then they would lose their power,
they've
and then they would lose
the
their
best
donors.
the best outline of really what's killed the Republican Party, or the Democratic Party, sorry, is there's a book by Thomas Frank at the Guardian, who was a writer for the Guardian, called Listen Liberal.
Okay.
And he very much talked to, and he traces it back to like the '72 Democratic Convention.
Right.
It's a very good read
Where
in
Democrats
terms of.
discovered, hey, we could make a bunch of money too.
Well, it was more like where Democrats decided we don't want to be the party of labor anymore. And they made a systematic purge of all the union reps who were in their decision-making council. And they said, we want to be a centrist party. We want to be a party of the professionals.
Yep.
So they started recruiting a lot of people from Harvard.
Wait, they had a purge? Like the movie?
God.
Well, people didn't die, but they basically said, you don't have an office with us anymore.
No, that was in '68.
Yeah, that was the other thing. But after Humphrey lost, there was a big shift in who was in the Democratic National. Their membership and the types of people who were in the Democratic National Committee shifted drastically in '72. And the purpose stated sounded good. It sounded like we want to get more younger people. We want to get more educated people. We don't want to just be the blue collar party. We want to have more people who have more wide ranging points of view, more education. But in the process, they moved much more to the center and they left labor behind. And the problem is when you have a two-party system, is that if one party moves to the center, where's the other party going to go?
Exactly.
Has to go, yeah.
So this is kind of correlating with stuff that kind of wasn't too good for us.
No.
Oh, you're saying it like happened around the same time? Yeah.
I was
That's
going to
weird.
hell about that. It's weird when that happened. Yeah.
So they stop supporting workers, then unions start getting stepped on, then jobs start getting taken away and shipped to other countries. That happened around the same time.
that is amazing.
That is weird.
It's documented. It's documented a lot better in the book. Read it.
Sorry, he's
Oh, Listen Liberal's a great
He's
book,
learning
yeah.
his lessons. He can't just be a heckler and like yell at us like
Yeah.
as if we were. No, I know
He
you're
didn't
not.
heckle.
I know he's not heckling, but like we're practically on stage and he's like this I'm thinking about this. I'm like,
And I'll tell you another thing.
no, but I'm saying he's.
You made me sound like a drunk.
There you go. He's learning the lesson and coming up to the community mic.
There you go.
But okay, so all right, I think we understood where we're on with this topic. Now, before we get into wait, unless you guys have one last thing to say, I think you do. You're pursing your lips. You're like, I want to say it.
Here's the thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I opened that door. Go ahead.
You opened the door. You did.
I did.
Since taking control of the House, right? Pelosi? Pelosi, yeah. Taking control of that, the Democrats lost the majority in the House. They lost the majority in the Senate. They lost over 1,000 state seats. 1,000 state seats gone.
And like a dozen governors.
And a dozen thank you. The majority of governors are now Republican. At some point, don't you say maybe it's time for this lady to just like don't you think it's time for new leadership? I'm not saying no, not anything bad happened to her. Just go enjoy your bazillions, have fun, just go away.
Is bazillion a number, like an actual number?
No.
Okay, well I don't know. I'm thinking math here.
Yeah. You remember that thing during the Bush administration where 2 Brazilian astronauts went up to the space station? And Bush was like, I didn't know that man could fit up there.
I heard a variation of that joke a long time ago. So.
Oh, remember when George Bush was the devil? Remember that?
Simpler times.
Oh, simpler
Much
times.
simpler
Take it
times.
back.
Remember when we
any
all
day.
hated that guy? Whoa,
Yeah, we called him a Nazi too.
Did we?
not like
I
this.
didn't call him one.
Not like this.
They call,
George Bush a Nazi.
and they called Romney a Nazi, and
No.
they started doing that,
They
and
didn't-
it's wrong.
You know what though? The whole thing is that they're speaking this shit into existence. But I'm gonna get off of that. But I'm
What
saying
the
You better
fuck are we
hurry.
talking about?
I don't know. They're using that.
I got one locked and loaded.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Nazis.
That's what they're talking about. I don't know how that got there. I don't know how that got there.
Chamber one of
Oh.
the magazine.
Oh,
Who put that there? Jesus Christ. All right. So, do we have any? No. Fuck it.
don't do it.
Doxy, we're going. Okay. Before we go to the lightning round. Okay. Because Doxy, you're doing the lightning round tonight.
I'll do it.
Okay, cool. So before we go to the lightning round tonight, I do want to say thank you to McNutt, to Richard Satchel,
Richard Satchel, yes.
to all the because here's the thing, okay?
Here's the thing.
Here's the
thing. I know that we get busy. I know that things get in the way, but I will tell you that you guys, I'm glad to have all of you here because I can't do this alone. I was telling McNutt that if I had to put up all these cables and everything. Like shit, the show wouldn't start until 9
Yeah,
o'clock.
half of them would be wrong.
Yeah. So thank you. Now
Not a hardware guy.
I consider myself. Yeah, I'm not. I'm a software dude. But so like, I appreciate the hardware help. So I want to just do a quick shout out before we get to the lightning round because at the end of the lightning round we've run out of time, but not out of shit to say, right? Right?
Sure.
Right?
Before we go to lightning round, I want to say 2 things about Android.
Okay.
Android O officially gets released on Monday.
Not just the development.
No, they're done with developer previews.
Okay.
Officially on Monday.
Wait, wait. Oh, is that when we find out what the name is?
Monday's the 21st, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Monday.
Is that when we find out what the
Oreo.
name is?
The name is Oreo.
It is Oreo?
I'm
Dude, you owe me like $5.
Why?
Wait,
Because you said I said Oreo.
What did I say?
You said something not Oreo. I said
Impossible.
Oreo.
What else
Impossible.
could- no, it's
I
not-
would only
yeah.
say Oreo.
there's no
I
way.
always thought it was going to be orange popsicle.
I was thinking orange creamsicle.
That's what
Orange
he was
creamsicle
thinking.
is what I
See,
heard.
I would never say that.
I win. It's Android.
I would
Oreo.
never say orange creamsicle because those are gross. I would
Well,
always
I know
say
you
Oreo.
didn't say
Wait,
Oreo.
is it confirmed that it's Oreo though, or you're just saying I think it's going to be Oreo?
98.5% sure it's Oreo.
How are they doing that?
They
How
did
are
with
they
Kit
do-
Kat.
Yeah, same thing with Kit Kat, where they had that partnership.
Yeah.
Hi, we're Google. Get out of the way.
No, hi, we're Google.
No,
See if you can breathe under all this money.
They had a mutually beneficial thing because Kit Kat got promotion and whatnot off of it,
Yeah.
and Google had the name.
Yeah.
I mean, suppose
They're really good at taking over stuff and kicking people out of the way.
yeah,
Who is?
You think they're going to buy out Nabisco just to get
Nabisco?
Oreo?
they could. Well, I don't know how much is Nabisco.
We want to
worth?
use your dessert names. Move.
How much is Nabisco worth? I don't know.
1% of the Google search engines, the search engines own. Anyway.
You know what's funny? I was about to say I hope they don't have N as nougat, but I was like, wait, it is, and we're already at
It's
N.
already
Little
we're
late.
way
Yeah.
we're
My
way
bad.
into nougat.
My bad.
Well, Nabisco killed all their union jobs and went to Mexico anyway, so they probably could buy them out.
They probably you're
All
probably
right,
right.
there you go. There you go.
That happened after 72.
Trying to.
You're making him.
Right,
you're
here we go.
He's about to explode. He's about to explode. All right, well, Doc. So what's the
So-
second? Or you want to keep going with this?
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Android on
All right. So
Monday.
what's the second thing that you want to talk about with the Android?
The Essential phone got released today,
The what? Oh, the Essential phone. Yeah.
which is only a big deal in case you don't know because Andy Rubin, the co-creator of Android, created this phone in this company, the Essential Phone Company. It came out today. It's for all the very short reviews I've seen. It's whatever. Camera's not very great. It's
Because it's an
What's the
essential
whole point
phone.
of this phone?
It's probably like 2
What, you said that's the
megapixel
whole point?
camera.
What's the point of the phone?
The point of the phone is to have a phone that is everything that you want that's not locked down to a certain ecosystem. So it's not a Samsung, it's not a LG, where Samsung has like whatever their specific Samsung apps.
They had their TouchWise.
Yeah, but how is that an
TouchWiz.
advantage?
How is it an advantage? It's not unless it was a budget phone that does everything you need. Like if it's
How much of a budget is this?
Yeah, how much is this phone going for?
it's not. That's the problem. It's not cheap. It's supposed to be a phone that's like.
Huh.
It was supposed to be like.
Oh, I
remember-
think Vic is trolling. I don't know.
Oh, like OnePlus. So when did OnePlus come out? 2000.
We're gonna release the Volkswagen. That won't be
you had-
$30,000.
So
Cars for the people.
2014, maybe. 2014,
You had the
2015?
OnePlus.
So in my mind, it was supposed to be like the OnePlus, but like a new one, like a new high end, like kind of like it fills the Nexus gap, right? The cheap
$400 Nexus gap.
Nexus. Yeah.
Well,
But
$400
well-
is relatively cheap compared to the actual Nexus or
Nexus
Pixel phone.
used to be $400.
only two of them.
The 4 was.
The 4 and the 5 are really cheap. Every other Nexus was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
2 phones doesn't make a trend. There have been 8.
It was 2 in a row.
2 in a row, that's a trend.
Yeah, but then they.
Fibonacci says so.
Yeah.
I would argue that.
It was like 2 out of 4 too. For that matter, that's
No,
50%.
there's like 8 of them.
Don't bring math into this.
All right.
There was because I mean you got so going all the way back,
Yeah.
you got the Nexus 1, the Galaxy Nexus. I don't know. There's so many, but all of them were expensive until the 4 and 5. And then even after that, this Nexus 6 was super expensive.
Yeah, it was.
6P and 5X were moderately expensive. Pixels, I mean, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Pixels are different?
But yeah, pixels are different. Yeah,
Are they?
It doesn't
anyway.
matter because Doxy's going to buy him anyway.
absolutely. You got it right. I am.
Yeah.
Do you actually like just have all these phones in your house?
I have them places.
Just,
I-
just-
I-
You could turn them into, you could repurpose them to be like security cameras.
I have them
I
around.
don't think that's what Doxy does.
I have them around places.
I think he just like looks at them.
I know he hasn't like
I
mounted
do
on a
that
wall.
too.
Perfectly good technology, not doing shit.
He's like, look, I had that phone.
Look what
Okay,
I
hold on.
I used to use.
So wait, how much is the Essential going for?
I want to say starting at 700.
Jesus fuck, really?
Yeah.
Shoot me.
It's
That's not an
it's
essential
it's not worth
phone.
It. It's not worth it.
I'm waiting for
in
the
my
Pixel.
in my very humble opinion, it's not worth the
But like,
money.
what kind of megapixel camera does it have? Like 2, because it's essential. Like,
The camera is not great from what I've been hearing.
2 and 8, I think.
oh Jesus.
Like 2 front.
2, yeah.
I don't remember.
What kind of RAM does it have?
3?
Really?
I
So
think.
what constitutes this to be a $700 phone?
I don't think it does. I think
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Well,
saying.
okay,
dude.
yeah, no, I'm
saying it's
I'm
not.
asking them like through
Because
Doxy.
they have to recoup their investment. They've got to make money.
Yeah, it's just the quantity that they're putting out there.
Yeah.
You know, that they can't. They have to break it out across a
They,
couple of
they-
thousand.
I mean, they have to. They've spent all this money in developing it. I think it's made out of like ceramic and titanium. I could be lying. I could be lying, but I'm pretty sure it's titanium or ceramic and
It is
something else.
something
this
crazy
is
like
a
that.
different essential. I'm thinking.
No, I think you're thinking of.
No, I'm thinking the word essential is.
Oh yeah. Nothing about this phone is essential to me. It doesn't have a headphone jack. It's not waterproof.
shoot. What?
No wireless charging. It has nothing. It has nothing.
That's what makes it
It
essential.
doesn't even make calls. It's just a piece of ceramic and titanium.
I'll give it. It looks nice. It looks really nice.
When
But I
you-
mean, it's a black slab, so you know you can only. It looks nice. I'll
When you
give
turn
it
it on, there's just a
Wasn't I
middle
supposed
finger.
to make
That's
that
it.
an episode title like 3 or 4 episodes back?
Yeah.
I didn't, but I should have.
So it's a black slab. It has a. It's like bezel-less, like edge screen. So it looks nice. It's a nice looking phone.
Yeah.
But not $700 nice.
Being that it's so useless, does it come pre-bricked, or you gotta do that yourself too?
I think it's right there. It's like a step away from being bricked.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's not even an operating system. You turn it on, there's just it just flips you off.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's like, thanks
you
for the
can't
money.
even make
Essential
calls.
this.
I don't. You know.
Thanks for the $700.
I don't
jerk.
know. I'm hoping they.
Sending somebody a phone that flips them off when they turn it on is actually kind of useful.
Here, can you turn this phone on for me?
If you got $700 and you
Yeah.
really want to flip somebody off
It humbles
indirectly,
You. It humbles you.
Your ex-wife,
okay.
mother-in-law.
Here, I have
come
this new
on,
phone
dude.
for you.
There you
Can you
go.
turn it on for me?
Gift tie.
You'll love the boot screen.
Yeah.
All right.
So-
Anything else with the phones?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, you got
so,
the lightning round.
So why are you not waiting until Pixel?
I didn't get one.
Oh, okay.
I would not
You're
buy
waiting
it.
until Pixel.
I'm just reporting that it's out there.
Yeah.
It's a big deal because Andy Rubin, the
He's
co-creator
our
of
senior
Android.
mobile correspondent.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I just wanted people. I mean, I wanted me to know. Mostly, I want to talk about it, but I have nobody else to talk about it with.
Are you an Andy Rubin fan?
Less so
Good
now, it
answer.
sounds
Good
like.
answer. Good answer.
I would say the person I'm most a fan of from the Android team would be, how do you say his name? Duarte, just for the design, just for his. Because I mean, Android was an ugly mess
It was.
3 or 4 versions ago.
in the 1 point or 2 point.
Even after that, I would say
it was garbage.
I would say yeah,
Well,
3
3 was really designed for tablets, really, like the honey
and it
comb.
was honeycomb's trash.
Design is for something big and then push into something really small.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 was gross. They weren't ice cream and jelly bean weren't pretty.
Wait, what number are we on now? Like 7, right?
Yeah, 7.
So is O going to be 8 or is it
O
going
is
to be?
8, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've changed their naming convention so every. I forget. No, 7 is nougat.
I still don't like that name.
It's over now. Now we're in Oreo.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's Oreo?
I'm pretty positive, dude.
Why don't you like nougat?
Well, I don't think there's a better dessert name, I guess. Like what? I wanted it to be Nutella. That's right. I wanted
Absolutely.
it to be Nutella.
Should have been Nutella.
Why
That's
was it
what-
Nutella?
See, that's what I'm thinking.
The Canadians wouldn't sell out.
I'm not going to argue on candy preferences, but but I'll say as a developer, what Android Studio went to once Lollipop came around, and how like they cleaned it up and made their application pipeline, and how much easier it is to deploy and write Android apps. That has improved leaps and bounds over
Because
the
before
last
that, they
4
were
or
just
5
using
years.
Eclipse, right? But they didn't have.
Yeah, they had
Android
Eclipse and the plugin, and it was
Trash.
there, and it was if you were really good with Java and you could really dig through the libraries, you could find stuff. Now with Android Studio, they have templates where you can get if you want to make a messenger or calendar app, you can have stuff like that.
No, you bring up a good point because while I haven't released or even gone anywhere near coding an app, with Android Studio, I've at least made a nice GUI. It doesn't do shit
I
right
made a
now,
button.
but
The pipeline is much better, and if you're doing Android game development through Unity, that is light years simpler than it used to be. It's almost a couple clicks and you're there. If you're building games in Unity and you want to deploy them to an Android app, it's much, much easier than it ever used to be.
interesting. All right. Are you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so BGM, I do apologize. I should have kept the link that you found for information security news. We're not using Ars Technica today. Today we are using.
We haven't used Ars Technica in years.
No, we haven't used it in 2 episodes.
Which is a lot like yours.
I guess it is
Years.
a lot like years, especially these last 2 weeks with the way things have been going.
I have
for
no
me.
concept of time.
Ain't that the truth?
All right, so today we're finding our news from infosecurity-magazine.com/news, okay? So again, we're reading the headlines. We don't want to tell you how to think or what to think. We want to give you the open door. You do your research and you come up with your own opinion.
There's no money in this.
There is no money in this.
Oh, I'm not getting paid? Yeah. Oh, what am I here? What am I doing here?
I thought you knew that, man. We pay you in beer. We pay you in beer.
Pay me in food. That's what I really want.
You want chicken nuggets?
Yes.
And cheese.
That's not food.
Chicken nuggets and cheese.
Okay. Anyway.
Dude, Jack in the Box.
Are you ready to start?
Yes.
There we go.
Wait, which way are we going? Ow.
We gonna rock, paper, scissors for it?
Wait. All right, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
Are we doing the
Odd
shoot
man
thing?
out. You go first.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going first anyway. It doesn't matter.
All right. Drupal patches critical remote access bypass bug. That's the first time I've seen Drupal in the news.
Ah, yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Mr.
You're first, dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hashtag, what are your thoughts on that, Doxy?
Son of a bitch.
Womp womp.
Womp womp.
So I guess the people that would be trying to find all the bugs, those would be the bug chasers, right? I haven't gone to a party like that in years.
Okay. Mr. Vic.
Mr. Vic.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Drupal is kind of like a weird, seldom used thing. I don't know.
Would you say it's seldom used?
I don't want to say biased, but I work for a Drupal hosting company, so obviously my view is skewed. Most of our clients would be using Drupal. So
I stick with the tried and true WordPress.
I would like to point out that Tim is the board member of a company that uses Drupal heavily.
I don't do that at all.
Yeah.
but I mean, as far as I understand, I think Drupal's pretty good about patching bugs and whatnot, and they're pretty on top of their stuff. So
All right.
I don't know. I'm not. Okay, yeah. Next, fake token info stealer hitches a ride with taxi apps.
Cool.
That's interesting. I want to see exactly how that works.
You order a taxi, they get your ID.
Oh, okay, well, perfect. Thank you, Vic.
I think it's great because you know the taxi's going to take the longest route possible, so that'll keep that info stealer busy for a long time.
So you're getting fucked twice.
There you go.
It's only going to cost you double the amount to get fucked.
There you go. I haven't been to a party like that in years.
Global security spending to top
It's going to be funny eventually. Go ahead.
86.4 billion this year.
What?
Wait. 80.
money there. What?
Global security spending to top 86.4 billion this year.
Oh, so that's how big the industry is then. $86.4 billion on like security products, security.
Is that repair or prevention?
I'm assuming that's.
That's
Just
Well,
says spending.
I'll read the underline headline. What do you call that?
Tagline?
The chaser? Tagline? Subtitle?
No, it's
One
not
of those-
subtitles.
One of those things. Gartner says security testing, the GDPR, and the rise of managed services will all contribute to this. So I'm assuming this is everything: security professionals, products, training, maybe.
Well, I think instead of MSPs, you're going to start having MSSPs, right? Like managed security and service. Like it's not just managed service provider. It's managed security and service provider. Like we're not just going to manage your workstation. We're going to make sure it's secured as well. So like your SOC. Your SOC team was going to be integrated with the MSP, right? No,
I feel like a lot of people are going to hate that.
That's where I think this might be going.
Yep. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. But I feel like MSPs that don't do that already are going to hate spending the extra money.
Right. They
To
they
secure
do.
stuff.
They do. From what I've heard.
Yeah, garbage collection and prevention. That's her new job.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Hiring more people is top need for better security in 2017. Duh. I can tell you that.
Yeah, because they're spending a lot of money on it.
Yeah, they're spending money.
Well, yeah.
You need people to spend that money on. Yeah.
Huh. I have thoughts on this, but I don't think I want to share it publicly.
Wait, now you have to, but hold on, I'm going to read the underline.
No, I don't.
Almost
Yeah.
a third of security pros willing to hire inexperienced staff to tackle workforce shortages.
Yes, they are.
Really?
What?
Nothing.
So, okay, so just in line with this, there's Iron Yard just closed down.
That was a coding boot
So
camp, right?
yeah, they're a code and boot camp
Yeah.
place. They had an office here in Vegas, and it was like where Pi Vegas met, and now that's closed. And but they've closed down nationally. Like they had campuses all over the country.
Closed up shop.
So it's interesting in the sense that now you're talking again. There's a lot of demand. I know for a fact that the casinos have pumped a lot of money into UNLV to create a cybersecurity minor at the computer science department, simply because they need better people and they need them local.
I think it's funny that the community college beat them to it.
It's, well, as far as that, but the interesting thing to me is like, okay, there's obviously demand. There's a huge need. How do you really train people to become good? But the real question is, how do you effectively and efficiently train people who are interested in this job, who want to become part of this, to go from maybe not having almost any computer science knowledge at all to becoming working security professionals?
I think it's better when I personally, I'm not a, I don't know. I think it's better that they don't have experience in the beginning. When
So
they're
that they
hired.
can be molded.
Yeah,
and
because
shaped.
then you don't come in with bad practices or bad ideas, and you're not like, you shouldn't do that and whatever. You know, they're more willing to learn because they're usually happy for the opportunity.
I
would
think the
assume
people
happy
who
for the
are
opportunity.
okay. Now I kind
Let's-
of go back and forth. Well, go ahead, Vic.
Let's apply that theory to other things,
Like being a doctor.
or cooking, or having sex.
Well, I don't know about being a doctor, but I think it definitely applies to cooking, and I think it definitely applies to cooking and having sex at least.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So no experience.
You know experience, but you're eager to learn.
Well, I mean,
I'm gonna try everything. Let's do this.
You want me to do what? I'm in there.
well, I mean,
You'll be disappointed at first, but then
Vic,
you know.
I think
you
with
get in
one
there.
question, you took the show from here to like off the rails. Sorry. Oh, that was awesome. No, that was God, that was hilarious.
yeah.
I think we have some people in the audience who were just like face desking.
I stick by my eager to learn.
When I was an apprentice, I worked for a lot of different companies, and a lot of the journeymen that I was attached to at the time, they would tell me different things. This is wrong, that's wrong, but that's personal preference to them. But each individual project requires its own individual processes.
yeah.
So that's not going to be any different for programming or anything else that's out there.
Yeah.
So when you go to a company and say, that's bad, you shouldn't do that, as an individual, I'll say, I'm going to remember that this is what this particular person doesn't want, but I'm still going to remember how to do it because that's not necessarily what the next person isn't going to want.
Yeah, and I think that's part of being a good mentor to say, I don't like doing stuff this way. You give your personal opinion on it, but also being a good mentoree, you say, okay, I get that, but maybe that's not the best way.
So if a company came to you and asked, advised, hey, we need software guys, we're going to take your advice and talk to and
Taking my advice?
Yeah, and say we're going to hire somebody with no experience. What qualities do we need to look for? Assuming that we're looking for people, we're willing to accept people who have no software experience behind.
They have to have the knack.
I feel like I'm not a
Could you be specific?
Watch Dilbert.
I'm not a hiring manager, and I don't hire people, but I feel like there is definitely I don't want to say knack. I feel like that's really.
I'm joking. It was a Dilbert reference. Man.
I've never seen a red Dilbert.
Dilbert, man.
Are you guys talking about security in general, or
Well, I guess it's more broad now too.
because infrastructure and software development security is just completely
Yeah, well, we're
different.
just talking about like the different focuses, hiring inexperienced. So sysadmin, security, whatever, hiring inexperienced people as opposed to hiring.
I mean, there are people who they have the willingness to learn, but they can't conceptualize what's being shown to them, or you know what I mean? Like, they come across a problem or an issue, and I know that there are people out there who can't conceptualize security security policy. I know I'm using concepts, but I mean like you show them the idea of two-factor authentication. I'm just using that as an example. That's the first thing that came to my head. Okay, you show them that example, but they don't understand why or how or who would give a shit to apply it, and they just, you know what I mean? Like,
Do you disagree that it's bad? Do you think it's bad to hire inexperienced?
So I can only talk to building software security teams. So specifically web application security, whether you're doing static analysis or dynamic analysis, whether it's black box or white box or gray box. One moment, I got a cough. Excuse me. I found that it's consistently you're better off hiring somebody who has a background in the technology that you are engaging in, and then teaching them whatever you need to about security itself. Because if you try to find somebody who says, well, I understand the theoreticals of all things surrounding cross-site scripting, SQL injection, OWASP top 10, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so can you code? Because if you can't code, if you can't at least read code, you're going to have a really hard time answering the question, is this dangerous or not?
Yeah.
What is this code doing? Or, hey, I was able to fire this attack through. It missed, but I don't really understand why, right? So really consistently, it's easier to teach somebody somebody who has the degree in computer science, who has gone off and programmed for 2 to 3 years, and then you add security on top of that, that person can become a rock star pretty quickly. I haven't seen the reverse.
So well, for me, I want to clarify that inexperience doesn't mean like no computer knowledge at all, just inexperience in whatever field they're trying to get into. So they could be proficient in, coding. Maybe they're a good developer, but they have no security experience.
Yeah, exactly. So if you think about the way a security vulnerability readout goes, right? So we just hacked this application. We did a vulnerability assessment on it. Now I'm going to the development and management team that owns that, and I'm saying, okay, this is what goes on. So it always involves a quick, this is what cross-site scripting is, here's where you can find more information. The developers usually get it really quickly, right? Because you can just look at them, and if you talk about cross-site scripting in terms of like, well, you're not doing the encodings right, and they understand what an encoding is. They're like, oh my gosh, obviously that's going to be a problem. Yeah. How do I figure out what the correct encoding is, right? That's a super easy conversation with a developer, whereas having a conversation about relative to going to somebody who says, I know exactly what cross-site scripting is, showing them a line of code and saying, what's the proper encoding? They're like, I don't know what the context is. Yeah. Right? Like they can't read the code to know how it should be fixed, to know what's wrong with it, why it would be wrong conceptually. No chance. So I build static analysis teams. That's more or less my day job. And I've just seen it again and again and again. If you're not a software developer, you probably shouldn't be anywhere near a static analysis gig.
Okay.
Okay. No, fair point.
I think we should, I'll say it after.
Yeah.
So, I am a hiring manager for security, and I've hired a bunch of people and interviewed a bunch of people. And I can say that universally, like with absolutely no exceptions, the people that have come in with no security experience but a strong, systems background, but they have an interest in security and they've kind of been following it, have been worlds better as interview candidates and as like hires than anyone with a cybersecurity degree. The people we get with cybersecurity degrees, frankly, they don't really have the skill set or the knowledge to actually do the job. And there's even degrees from really prestigious schools, really big names that like everyone has heard of, and that people are like, I wish I could have gone to that school. But they come in and they might know the buttons to click on the tools, but not why the buttons they're clicking is doing what it's doing. Okay. And that seems to universally be the case. Yeah. Whereas you get like a lot. I tend to look for systems guys because that's my background. But whereas I've hired someone recently who was a systems guy, and who's never worked a security job, but they've been passionate about it, or they've been interested in it, and they've been like teaching themselves. They go to things and they go to CTFs, and they're into it. And that kind of person is worlds better than anyone with a cybersecurity degree.
I totally believe that.
Is it one of those things where they don't know everything, but they think they do? Like the people with the degree?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, oh,
they don't know anything, but they think they do. Like, we had one guy from probably the best science school in the country, the best computer science school in the country, whose answers to everything was a different form of firewall. And I'm like, that doesn't really... And because that's all he knew, because that's all the courses taught him.
That's happening, right? Give it a Juniper. That's happening, give it a Sonic Wall. That's happening, we got IP tables over here.
Yeah, but that's all he knew is he knew the tools. He didn't know
why the tools worked,
or what the solution was, or what the technical problem was. Wow. Or if I said, can you implement a script to do this, he would not be able to do it because they didn't know what it was. And I don't know if that's true universally, but that's been true of all the candidates that I've interviewed.
I've ruined the lightning round.
Yeah,
I mean, I would just co-sign on everything he just said, and I would try to frame it as security, at least on the blue team side of security, is really, it's an additional skill on top of another profession. Okay. And that's really the way I think of it. And
So what I propose is that we come back to this topic as an actual discussion, not in a lightning round.
Yeah, not in the lightning round.
Because
lightning round is bad, and you should feel bad.
I've ruined.
Jesus Christ.
I've ruined this. This is the worst I've ever ruined the lightning round. So let's wrap this up.
All right, so it is now the end of the lightning round,
It's the end of this and the next lightning
which
round.
means we've run out of time, but not out of shit to say. So join us again next week where we do this all over again at 7:30 p.m. On Friday at the Sin Shop. So the address for the Sin Shop, if you want to join us next week and hang out with us, it is 1075 American Pacific Drive, Suite C in Henderson, Nevada. We are still, where's Crux? We are still the Las Vegas Valley Hackerspace, even though we are in the burbs of Henderson. Go to sinshop.org for more information on the shop. Go to meetup.com/sinshop for the appointments and the things that we do. And go to GREYNOISE, GREYNOI.se for more information on us and what we do and how we do it and all that jazz. My name is Master Jen.
This is Doxy.
And I'm Richard Satchel.
And you... good night, everybody.
And you were watching.
You were watching GREYNOISE. You were, and now you're not, because I'm stopping right now.